And it says we're live.
Yeah, it lies.
Yeah.
Is that backwards? That is backwards.
Well, it shouldn't be backwards. What the frack? Printed it where it would look correct.
Hello world. Once again, you may have noticed the background has changed.
Yeah.
If you want to support the person who pays for the broadband, which you are currently viewing, buy the quilt top.
And I will figure out how to reverse print that so that it looks right next time.
Jonathan says, make it where I don't have to go back to Oregon ever again.
That's just kind of the whole way this whole day has gone.
Right?
God. One of the posts this morning, we're still renovating and will be forever. We have been for 3 years. We had to build a wall in an enclosed space today. So we start counting 2x4s. Yeah, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Crap, we're short. 2 2x4s. We send one guy off to get 2x4s. We start cutting 2x4s because you have to have one on the bottom, 2 on the top, and in between, 16-inch on center to be legal.
Within code.
Yeah, well,
legal
code, whatever.
Within code.
Unlike some builders that I know that did 24-inch on center. So we get the thing built, start standing it up after we get 2 more 2x4s, and it's like dunk. Check. Now we got to take the door off because we were hitting the door handle.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it's been that kind of morning already.
Yes.
Well, welcome everybody.
Hello, world.
Yeah.
Live from the blanket fort.
Yeah. Might be backwards on your screen. Well, it is on our screen.
It's
anyway.
on our screen.
Yeah.
But it's that kind of day. Grab a mirror, y'all be fine.
Yeah. And Sarah had a really interesting comment over our little second time in 4 days fire yesterday.
North Texas is in a wee bit of a dry spell.
Yeah.
And it's been dry, low humidity, and high winds. And stuff's been catching on fire. And then yesterday we were sitting in a cafe with a friend of ours who's the second command of small town PD. And he had a great huge brick hanging from his epaulet while he's listening to the volunteer fire because another one had popped up. And just before he left, dispatch announced that there were 6 agencies and multiple personal bulldozers responding to the scene.
Yeah. Yeah, that's almost as bad as last Christmas when guys were bringing out their tractors with their scrapers on it to plow the streets and plow parking lots. Because we don't get snow. We don't have snow plows.
TxDOT, the Texas Department of Transportation, bless their hearts, does the best they can. But nobody expects ice and snow on roads in Texas, and TxDOT just kind of loses its little mind.
Well, they do spray the overpasses at least.
Sort of. Don't trust the overpasses in North Texas, folks.
Yeah. Especially the flyovers.
There's a way into Itchypaw, the old highway into which Itchypaw only goes over one bridge. And if we get white stuff on the roads or ice you can't see, aka black ice, African American ice, black ice. Don't know if I'm allowed to say that anymore.
No.
I will take the old, slower way into Itchypaw to avoid the multiple overpasses.
But apparently we did not get the real wind. Dawn, who's usually on here.
Up in Colorado.
They got 107 mile an hour gust in Lamar.
Oof.
And
oh yeah, Bill.
Hey, Bill. Bill was getting some winds down by Dallas. And Nancy, don't trust any overpasses anywhere. They are skating rinks.
Nope.
And another friend of ours up in Wichita, Kansas, said, "Oh yeah, well we got 50-knot winds gusting to 80 in Wichita."
Wolf.
It's like, oh,
Well, Lubbock needs to come and get their front yard out of my backyard.
hey, but at least all the horse flies are now in Oklahoma. They're not
No
here.
kidding. No kidding. Bye.
Yeah, we got them from Arizona in the last go round.
No kidding.
Yeah, Koala, it was interesting around here yesterday. Yeah, the smallest skyscraper is
Why snowbirds are heading here? Why?
Yeah.
No. No.
Yeah, we do have the smallest skyscraper.
Well, we do.
That's a rather interesting story that you can look up on the net.
Yeah, it was a scam, and they decided to turn the scam into something of a tourist attraction.
Yeah. The other thing I want to talk about, we continue to get reviews for I Can't Go Home Again. We appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, we do appreciate it. And this came from one of our friends, Amanda, who put this up over at Mad Genius Club.
Amanda Green.
Yeah. Apparently, Penguin Random House.
Randy Penguin.
Yeah. Is now trying to buy Simon & Schuster, so the Big Five will become a Big Four. And the Randy Penguin lawyers have said, oh, it's pro-competitive in every respect. It will benefit authors, booksellers, readers for generations to come.
Horse feathers.
Yeah.
It's a monopoly.
Yep.
Jonna, you have a visitor.
Yes, I do. Look, I came bringing tidings of good joy. You're welcome.
Anyway, Amanda's got a really good breakdown on what the Randy Penguin monopoly is actually going to mean.
It's not going to be good.
It'll be good for favorite authors, especially if you're a Hillary Clinton who needs a campaign donation, shall we say, that needs to be more than the federally mandated maximum. You can Randy Penguin can call it a royalty or advance against advance fees, and give her a lot more money than they're allowed to, which is what happens.
And she will never have to pay any of that back.
No, she wants to pay it back. And the trouble is ain't no such thing as a free lunch.
What?
Oh, sorry.
It's all right.
She was asking me if we got a call.
We're in a busy shop.
Yeah.
Anyway, ain't no such thing as a free lunch, as Robert Hyman pointed out one time. So all that extra money that Hillary or Barack Obama or whoever the favored author is or political critter is on the moment has to come from somewhere. And that somewhere is generally royalties that are owed to other authors. The cream gets scraped off the top and sent to the favorite author.
Yep. Yeah, Steph, Como is having to give his advance back, but he's already donated part of that advance to his children and apparently to at least one other organization.
Oh.
Yeah. And he's now claiming, well, I haven't gotten all the advance yet, so how can I pay it back? Ethics Division doesn't care.
Oh, no.
He was awarded $5.1 million, and they want all of it.
The Big Five publishers are a mechanism for funneling money to causes they approve of, shall we say.
Yeah. In some cases, that's politicians.
Yeah.
In some cases, that's, pick an organization.
Yeah. Hello, Sarah. How are you?
The other Sarah.
Multiple Sarahs.
Yeah, we got too many Sarahs in this group.
Too many Sarahs, too many Amandas, too many Stephanies.
Yeah. But what's interesting, the impact is going to be if they combine, who becomes the lead author? Because the lead author is the one that's going to get pushed.
Oh, yeah.
And the second tier authors, not so much. And how many mid-list authors are going to get kicked to the curb?
Well, we're already seeing mid-list authors get kicked.
Yeah.
It's traditional publishing has gone full on stupid. Used to be the business model for publishing was, yay, you've got some high-end authors, but your real money came from multiple mid-list authors that brought in a steady, low but steady amount of funds to your publishing house. Here recently, for reasons I cannot fathom, they've decided that what they need to do is push the big multi-million-dollar earning authors at the expense of their mid-listers, which is really good money out of the starting gate, but tends to taper off. Your big authors, if you don't start running ghost writers in there,
Yeah.
Your big authors tend to peter out. George R. R. Martin's a good.
Yeah. Never completed the series. Claims he's going to. But the more interesting part is, and Cedar's right, it's been going on for a long time. I was in a discussion with Dave Farland the other night, and the subject of cover art came up. And this was something that I was kind of aware of, is that once you sign over the rights to a big five or any producer, they are going to give the best cover to their top sellers.
Mm-hmm.
So even if you have a great cover for your book, the odds are you're not going to be allowed to put that cover on the book
Because it'll eclipse their
Yeah.
big one.
And he was talking about
Which is a really stupid way of doing business.
I can't remember which publisher it was, but they decided to upgrade their covers across their platform.
Oh, that's not good.
And when they did and went to the book conventions, the booksellers are going, oh, well, we like number 4 and number 6. Number 2, number 1, yeah, we'll forward number 6. And all of a sudden it started leveling the playing field. And all the publishers went, oh, not a good idea. Yeah, you're right, Cedar. Authors don't get a say in their covers for trad for that reason.
Well, they get.
No, they don't get a say, period.
Yeah. Okay.
They occasionally, if they're the number one, they might get a say in the idea for the cover. But that's it. Otherwise, it's whatever the publisher wants to put out.
One of the things that annoys me is, and I'm not sure what I thought, but I hate books where the cover artist has obviously never read the book.
Yeah.
Or never read synopsis of the book, or even the back cover. That really annoys me. And I used to think that was an occasional oops.
Yeah.
But I don't think so anymore. I think.
Yeah, you're right.
This looks good. It will attract people. It's going on the cover of this book, but it doesn't have a thing to do with the book. Don't care. It'll attract people.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's the sad part. The other thing in Cedar being a cover artist, so she's definitely been in this for quite a while. Yeah, IP and respect and credit.
Well,
that's always the hard part. But one of the things, and this goes back to writing itself. What is worth the most of your time? What are you paying yourself with? It's writing. It's not cover art. It's not editing.
The cover art's important. It gets people. It actually does get people to look at your book.
Yes, it does. But is your time better spent diddling around with a cover, or paying somebody to do a cover for you?
Most definitely paying somebody. Very, very definitely. My classic example is Tom Rogdemy, and we love Tom. Tom's a great guy, good author.
Yeah.
He has a book cover that makes me cry every time I see it.
Yeah.
And when you see it on Amazon, it's just a black book cover. And for the longest time, I swore it was a spider web on a black background.
Yeah.
Apparently, it's supposed to be broken window glass.
Yeah.
It's like, dude,
Yeah.
and he really needs to go back and redo that cover.
Yeah.
That cover bugs the hell out of me.
Yeah. Yes, Cedar, we know you can put lipstick on a pig and a camel.
And a camel, apparently.
That one's going to
Apparently.
show up again.
Botox the camel.
Oh, there are plenty of people that do that, Sean. Some of them even reprint them.
But you need to, Jim's got a good point. Find somebody to do your cover art for you. And give them what, let them know what you want. But there's way too many folks that will pay for a cover. And they'll, this is what the book's about. This is what I want. They get something totally different instead of going, no, this is wrong. They'll go, oh, thank you, because it's a artist and this is your cover. Well, it's not what you wanted. Don't accept it.
Yeah, I am lucky in that.
Thank you, Cedar. Thank you so very much. That cover sets my teeth on edge.
I'm lucky in that my cover artist is actually a friend of mine, and Tina and her husband are both graduates of Philadelphia School of Art. And we worked out a deal where I pay her a little more than $5, trust me, Cedar. But she actually reads the book and designs the cover based on my scratchings on a piece of paper to give her an idea. And it usually comes out a hell of a lot better than what I planned. But again, that's what she does for a living. She knows graphic art. She knows how to do things like that. I don't. It's not worth my time and my brain sweat, what little there is, to try to design a cover for a book when I've got somebody that's a professional that can do it for me for a reasonable price.
I can't design covers. I'm not.
It's like you guys trying to hem your own pants.
Hey now.
See? Exactly. Yeah, the
Love
cover.
the walkthrough comments.
The cover of Can't Go Home Again is fantastic, and it's an example of a fantastic cover.
Yeah.
I haven't read any stories yet. I probably won't because, ouch. But it gets the point across.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful cover that gets the point across and draws you in. It's an example of great cover art. A lot of traditional publishing, not examples of great cover art. I'm sorry, it just doesn't work.
And the other thing is a lot of the cover art that seems to come out of Trad Pub is designed for bookshelves, not for thumbnails.
That's a good point. That's a real good point. And I hammer this every time we have a seminar. I hammer this because of Tom. Thank you, Tom. If you're indie publishing, and let's face it, more and more of us in the future are going to be we're not going to make it to Trad publishing. Trad is locking us out, period. We're full of wrong think. So you're going to be indie publishing. Take this to heart, please. Your cover must be distinctive and recognizable in a postage stamp sized thumbnail being swiped on a cell phone screen.
Yeah.
If you can't get somebody's attention with a postage stamp size of your cover, redo it. Because that's how people in the future are going to look for your books.
Yep.
They're going to look at a postage stamp size representation of your cover art scrolling by on a iPhone screen. And if it doesn't leap out and grab them by the eyeballs, you're not going to sell. You don't sell, you don't make money.
No, Josh, they don't show up well on thumbnails.
No. Love chainmail bikinis, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Don't show up well. Don't show up well.
As long as I don't have to clean the damn things once I get them off of them. Modern cover design is more akin to.
I just lost my train of thought.
More akin to logo design. And that's very true. And Sean brings up a good point. a new application at work, you've got to come up with something different enough that people will neon yellow on neon pink. No, God, koala, really?
Ugh.
Yeah.
But then once you become an established author, or you have a series, you have all of them have to be similar enough that they can be spotted on a postage stamp size thumbnail.
Yeah, that's where I think a lot of authors fall down on it, is the continuity from book to book to book.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah, koala, there's no question that neon yellow, neon pink's going to pop. Not that you'll be able to see anything else.
Yes, but nobody can read with a migraine.
Yeah. Chainmail undies. Yeah. Line those chainmail undies. Yeah. If you've ever been around anybody that actually does the armor stuff in SCA, they're a little fragrant because those undies catch it from both sides.
I'll take things I didn't need to know for 500 hours. I don't know if I've shown folks on here yet. I've got the new cover. I'm in the process of getting all my rights back. Once I have all my rights back, I'm going to republish using this cover. And you'll notice it's simple. And it shows up in that little thumbnail.
Yeah.
What? Real Media Ian all of a sudden. What does that mean?
You've actually started acting like a real media person instead of your normal self.
What does that mean?
Never mind.
I'm confused.
Never mind.
Anyway, so that's going to be the cover for the first one. Now for the second one and possible third, they're going to have to be similar but different. The Africa, I'm thinking of in that one, the one you just saw is cowhide. I'm thinking of doing giraffe as a background for the Africa one, and then there's a third one, possible, no promises, possibly entitled Essays and Recipes. I ain't promising anything.
Oh, you've already committed to doing it.
No, I haven't.
Yeah, you have.
Show me the contract.
Talk to Sarah is going to be the other Sarah, the third Sarah.
Sarah doesn't have a contract for the third book. She's got a contract for one book. Is going to probably get two. Does not have a contract for three. I don't care what she says. And she says she's got a contract for three. She doesn't. I will scrape the whiteout off that contract.
Speaking of which,
Whiteout
we have to publish next week.
I'm working on it. As a dyslexic, I can read that. I know. I'm working on it. Things keep jumping up and grabbing me. Yeah, graphic novels. That's all in Cedar's capable hands, so talk to her. As far as the Rattle Saga and the Lizards.
Oh, you still got to write the context for it. Yes, Gordon. Patrick O'Brien and Taylor Anderson's books. Another one is James Young's. He's got a series out there, alternate history series, World War II. Excellent covers.
Soldier Stories, probably not.
Not if we want to stay out of jail.
Stay out of jail or no. Soldier Stories will probably not ever be a book. One, there's not enough of them. Two, the Army, particularly in the 80s, was not that big an organization. And I hate it when I'm telling a story of some of my misdeeds way back in the 80s and have a noted senior officer at the table go, "That was you?" And I go, "Damn."
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
I hate that. That was you. Oh shit.
at least most of my stuff's never made the light of day.
Apparently, mine is the subject of seminars at the National War College. Don't let your E4s do this.
Yeah. Speaking of miscreant E4s here
I was the poster child for miscreant E4s
and fives and
and
sixes.
6s.
Yeah.
Which story did she hear last weekend?
I don't know.
Oh shit! Which story?
I don't know. I was not in the room.
Oh shit!
I have deniability. But folks, we're slipping into winter.
No, no
The
kidding.
weather's starting to change.
No,
Yes.
notice no
Yeah.
Hawaiian shirts, long sleeves, and no Hawaiian shirts.
Yeah, it was 80 yesterday. It was 44 this morning when I left the house.
Oh, it's colder than hell this morning.
What I don't get,
Oh,
yeah, what I don't get is these kids that run around in shorts and a hoodie.
or shorts and a parka.
Yeah,
High top sneakers, shorts, American shorts, but still short pants, and a parka. It's like,
what the hell?
do you not like your shins?
Yeah,
The shins done something to you we need to know about?
yeah, yeah, John. We're bouncing, pillar to post over here too.
Oh, no kidding. It is time to get ill because 80 to 30 to 80 to 30 to 80 to 30.
Josh, in Alaska, they actually make Halloween and Christmas costumes that will fit over a parka.
Well, there's the famous Texas thing of your Halloween. The Texas Halloween costumes had to fit over jeans and boots.
Yeah. 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 Well, you're talking about kids in the mountains, North Carolina, shorts and sandals. One of our PhDs that I worked with a number of years ago was out of Lincoln Labs. In his contract, he was not allowed to teach students.
Poor little darlings.
He wore shorts and sandals 365 days a year in Boston.
Oh, he's a PhD. They're not wired to spec anyway.
And had a bowl haircut. And
Not
lived
wired to
in
spec.
what they called the rubber room. Stay puft marshmallows. Yeah.
Trick or treat.
Yeah, some of the costumes are rather large. All right, Koala, you're just flat friggin' crazy. No. Yeah. Yeah, Tibet's monks, yeah, they're kind of used to the cold weather stuff.
Also, not wired to spec.
Yeah. Yeah, Raptor, that's true too.
We have friends that live over by Los Alamos National Labs in Los Alamos, New Mexico. And they have stories about PhDs. And there for a while, I thought it would be a good retirement job to get paid by the federal government oodles of money to make sure your PhD show up for a lab and or class wearing clothes. But no, I'm going to pass.
Actually, that has happened. Many years ago, we were at a meeting at TRW in Fairfax, and a Chinese doctor showed up in pajamas, his dress shoes, and a dress jacket.
Okay.
And TRW started paying his wife a supplement every month she only had 3 PhDs, he had 5, to make sure he was actually dressed, and bought him 5 suits, 7 white shirts, and the assorted accoutrements so that she could make sure he was dressed to go to work every day.
Well, he should have waited 20 years because apparently these days, the days of Zoom calls, and I'd like to remind everybody, every Zoom call you've been on,
Yeah.
goes through the Chinese Ministry of State Security. Between you and your boo, it stops off in Beijing on the way through. It's just remind everybody of that. However, apparently these days of Zoom calls, it's quite normal to have a shirt, tie, and sports jacket over your boxers and or PJ bottoms, because nobody, unless you're a CNN correspondent with sausage problems, probably nobody can see you below the waist.
Yeah, Sean, I've seen people in San Diego wearing parkas in the winter. Every Zoom call has no guarantee of pants either.
No, not at all. Boxers. Or if you're Mr. Tubin, not even Tubin going tubin, apparently not even a boxers.
Yeah.
I am not a cat. That was the best thing from COVID, was that lawyer down in the boot heel.
Oh yes. Rita is off screen, and we just during a little soliloquy we just had, I heard her very distinctive voice come over the screen. I am not a cat. And she reminded us there was a lawyer on Zoom call that hit a wrong button down in the Texas boot heel. And the Zoom put a mask or whatever the hell it is.
His granddaughter had been playing with the screen before a meeting with other lawyers in the county.
Apparently his granddaughter had been playing with the cat filter. So he's having a meeting with other lawyers, and he's a cat, and he apparently had to tell them, I am not a cat.
Well,
Josh says, hi, hon.
hi.
Oh.
You will not be on screen.
Rita says, Anyang.
Oh, yeah, the lawyer was hilarious.
Hopefully we get Rita's voice from off screen more often.
Yeah.
I don't know if y'all can hear the editorial comments coming over the screen from the work side of shop, but they're kind of good.
Yeah, we're being put in our place on a routine basis. Oh.
Where's my coffee bin?
If you had a coffee pot, we could fix that problem.
Hi, Midwest Chick says hi.
Hi.
She says hi back.
Yeah.
And,
Mic them up. Yeah. We might have to hide a remote mic over there one of these days.
because we're getting the MST3K treatment from the work area, and it's actually kind of amusing. Hey, honey, Josh says no monkey, no story. The kids might hear.
And that got very quiet all of a sudden.
No, we're looking at jewelry.
Ow.
You guys lose all. Back is interesting. We're looking at Italian jewelry.
Oh.
Speaking of jewelry, the blanket fort is next door to a jeweler. And I had snuck outside to take a frustration break and watched a guy pull in one of those Lincoln Navigator pickups. Get out, farmer overalls, put his hat on, walked in the jewelry store, came out 5 minutes later with a box, which was probably a watch.
Christmas came early.
Christmas came early, got back in his Lincoln Navigator, and away he went.
Yeah.
Yeah, shinies.
Lincoln made a killing with those Navigator pickups in North and West Texas. And Cadillac's Escalade did the same thing.
Yeah.
Because a whole bunch of ranchers and farmers bought the Cadillac Escalades for their wives. A whole bunch of ranch wives out in West Texas got some money, got comfortable, and hubby would buy them a caddy and catch an earful because the missus couldn't put a hay bale in the back. So some Cadillac dealer got smart and start out in Amarillo and started a rancher's wife thing for Cadillac Escalades, and I think made a killing.
my aunt did that back in the 60s. My uncle wanted to buy her a new Cadillac.
Mhm.
And it was during the summer, and I happened to be out there, and we went down to El Paso. And she told him, said, I don't want a Cadillac, I want a Suburban.
Yeah.
He's going, but, honey, I want a Suburban. Can't put shit in the back of that Cadillac. And
Yeah.
this is in the days of the big Cadillacs. And, 14-year-old me going, what is she talking about putting in the back of a Cadillac that's that big?
You don't want to know.
And then now, my age, I don't want to know.
No, you don't. You don't. Yeah, the Escalades, the avalanches with the caddy upgrades. I remember in Amarillo somebody losing their mind because he went through the parking lot at Westgate Mall and was counting. This kid was from Washington, the state, not the district, and was counting Cadillac Escalades with trailer hitches installed. Yeah. And that ain't right. Oh, son, you don't understand.
Yeah, Josh, you're talking about Ford Expeditions. I've got a couple of friends that have got them. And the biggest seller was the King Ranch version of the Expedition.
Oh, yeah.
And there are some folks that are still running around with the Ford Centurions, which, if you don't know what those are, those were originally built as oil field vehicles.
Oh, those things.
For Ramco and some of the others. They were the first crew cab, so to speak, Fords. But they were built, and I do mean sturdily built. And a lot of the ranchers found out about it, went to Ford and went, we want these too. Mm-hmm. And so you do see a few of those still running around, and they were built in the 70s, and they're still going like hell.
When I was at Bug Scuffle, the lady of the big ranch in the area, about once a month, she had this powder blue, Suburban, powder blue Suburban. About once a month, I would clock her coming down 287 at about 105 miles an hour. And the first time I stopped her, my butt chewed out because she'd come from Amarillo, and we were an hour away from Amarillo. Well, at 105, but under conditions, we were an hour away from Amarillo, and her ice cream was melting. And she bought for a ranch. She had ice cream, 100 weight.
Yeah.
I mean, she had the entire back of that Suburban was crammed full of ice cream, and I got chewed out because it was melting.
Yeah.
The second time I stopped her, I stopped her at 106, and there was a calf head sticking out of the back of the Suburban window, attached to the rest of the calf. It was looking around and slobbering into the breeze, and I couldn't help it. I had to stop her to ask what the hell she was doing, and I got my butt chewed out again. It was glorious.
In the chat, Koala says they take their 6'7" brother car shopping to make sure he can fit in the trunk. Josh, I will have you know, in the 1970s, you could fit 4 people in the trunk of a caddy. We did that on more than one occasion, go into drive-ins.
I know for a fact of Sunset. I forget which ranch it was. Was it Sunset or Turkey Track?
Probably Turkey Track.
Used to take a steer calf in when they were buying cars.
Yeah.
And would stick that calf in the trunk of the.
Yep, I believe it. Richard J. Right.
Yeah, not at all. I'm not sure what the buffering. We should not be buffering, not on this end. I'm wondering if YouTube is having issues.
It could be, because people that went back and looked at it on Tuesday said it was fine.
Yeah, we shouldn't be buffering off this end. We're on the information superhighway here. We've got John has got fiber to shop, and it's a nice big, nice big pipe coming in here. We shouldn't be buffering on this end.
Probably, Nancy. Hell, Facebook blacklisted us. Blacklisted us. 500 pounds of range cubes and 76. Yeah, that's about right, Bill.
Um, of course, it may not have been me using an ethnically incorrect word for a dangerous road ice.
John said there's a major hacking going on. Somebody found a major exploit.
Oh, great. Anyway, back to the Randy Penguin thing.
Yeah.
This is a quite clear, Penguin Random House is quite clearly trying to operate this public. I don't care what anybody says, and if DOJ allows this merger to go through, there's going to be a lot of writer folks. The stratification is going to get worse. We're going to lose the mid-tier author.
Yeah.
You're either going to be a big, high-end, well publicized author, or you're going to be hard scrabble. It's kind of like that anyway. And honestly, folks, if you're a mid-tier author, and I think we have some that listen to this, you need to start looking into indie publishing.
Yeah.
You need to start looking into making the connections to get editors and to get cover art folks and do it in your own, because I think mid-listers are going to get kicked to the curb in increasing quantities as the decade plays out.
Well, last month I got to listen in on a conversation with Brandon Sanderson, and that was one of the questions that was asked of him. Said, what would you do today? And I was kind of shocked when he said, even with the level of success I've had, he said, if I were to start today, I would be a hybrid author.
Mm-hmm.
I would go both indie and trad pub.
Yep.
But I would make sure that I kept everything separate.
Well, the great thing about indie, and it's a trade-off. You don't get as much money. If you are a big name at a traditional book house, you're going to get some money. You'll get money. James Patterson, is that the goober? He makes money hand over fist, even if ghostwriters are doing a lot of the stuff. But he doesn't own any of it anymore. As an indie author, you will own all of your IP, all of your brain sweat, all of your intellectual property. You'll still own it. Where traditional publishing, they'll own it, and that's not always. It's very seldom a good thing.
Well, one thing I would recommend, even as an indie, is to copyright your work.
Oh God, yes.
I use LegalZoom. Jeez.
Wow.
Is that the first stack or all of it for
That's the
today?
stack for today.
Now, Jonna just came by and I saw a pair of pants walking with boxes.
A pair of pants under some boxes.
But
I have to take that to the post office.
use whatever you want to. You can actually file directly with the Copyright Office. You just got to pay the fee. I have to use LegalZoom because I use them for my legal stuff because they're convenient. And I think I pay $37 to file a copyright. But I do that for every one of my books and my stories because I want to have that capability. If somebody comes back and says, no, you don't own this, that I can go, yes, I do.
And this becomes important with Amazon.
Yeah.
Because John might want to chime in on. We need to get him in here live on these days. Both John Van Stry and Jim have had issues with Amazon telling them that the work that they've just done isn't theirs.
Yeah. And as soon as I threw the copyright at them, they went, oh, never mind. So there are ways to do it. It's well worth your time. And this applies for any intellectual property. If you're an artist, if you are Passive Guy walked through it quite a while ago. If you're an artist, if you are a designer, anything that you can do to make it easier to guarantee that you have the rights to that material is what you want.
It's better to cough up $125 now for a copyright than to pay somebody $250 an hour, minimum 4 hours to get your copyright back.
if you can get it back.
Just get it back.
Yeah.
And like I said, Amazon, and apparently they're stepping up. Jim's had issue with this. John's had
Twice.
issue. John Van Stry's had issue with Amazon telling them they're working their work.
Oh, he did it again last week, Cedar. Thanks.
What? Oh,
Passive guy walked. He did it about a year ago. I remember seeing.
and there's a lot of scammers. There's
Yeah.
a lot of scammers and
Oh God, yes.
flat out fraudulent folks that will take your work, especially if they can get it before you actually publish, and publish it under their name. And we discussed that last week
Yeah.
or last one, didn't we?
Yep. Miranda Devine happened
Miranda
to her.
Devine on her Hunter laptop investigation.
Yeah.
Somebody snagged it and ran with it and made it number 9 on Amazon. Made a butt ton of money off of it that Miranda will never see.
Understood, Cedar. You're a little different. In
Yeah,
more ways than
more
one.
ways than one.
But not being sarcastic with that statement. The big art, yes, you do need to copyright it. It's common sense because all it takes is a snapshot to get out there, and somebody's going to steal it, put it on a cover, and you get nothing out of it.
Or you do something that it costs you, the fight will cost you. And copyright, getting it's not that expensive.
Yeah.
John does it. Apparently John Van Stryde does it himself. And Jim goes through a web page, and then Cedar's got some guy named Passive Guy has instructions on his blog. You need, if you're going to write or make art in any way, and I honestly, if you've ever considered writing or making art, do it.
Yeah.
Please God, do it. But protect yourself.
The voices are not heard. This is one of the reasons. This is one of the reasons that we, and I say we veterans, started a program 20 years ago through the Veterans VA and other places to get oral histories from people.
Oh,
because so much was being lost.
Yeah.
It's one thing to get the official history. It's another to, apparently we are now having problems. Our connection is unstable.
that sounds to me like YouTube.
Yeah.
There's some in Beijing just flipped a switch on our YouTube channel.
Yeah.
The speed test, guys, it's not us.
Yeah, it says your connection is unstable. Please wait while we try reconnecting.
Somebody in Beijing pulled a plug on us.
Yeah.
In case we're still live, probably not, but for the recording.
Yeah.
I am sad by the thought of the number of farmers and ranchers and tradespeople I've known that had artistic souls, but didn't have the time or the resources to make art in any way. They just simply didn't have the time. There was a lot of gatekeeping. Up until recently, there was a lot of gatekeeping.
Yeah.
My father was a poet. I get my writing from him. He had a poetic turn of phrase, and I wish he could have written and self-published, because I think the world lost something when Dad died without ever having put anything down. And I hate to think of the number of people out there that have this artistic soul and never express it. Express it, people. It's the golden age of self-publishing. Write, then write again, and then write some more.
And your first work's going to suck, but you get better.
Yeah.
It takes practice. It's like everything else. Well, some things are kind of automatic. Yeah. But to go back to the veterans thing, we've worked hard to contact veterans, especially older veterans that were in significant actions or not,
It's not it's not us guys.
No, it's
Yes.
not us.
Just to make sure.
Oh,
So-
God,
some-
yes.
Somebody is in Beijing is.
They don't like you people.
Oh,
Yeah.
I think that's a good thing to have on your
we
resume.
do. Curriculum vitae. Beijing hates my guts.
But getting those stories from the people that were there, from the boots on the ground, from the miscreant E4s.
I wasn't there. I didn't do it. Man was dead when I got there. I swear.
But some of the stories were amazing and have changed history. Um, the folks that lived through the sinking of the carriers, the crew of the Indianapolis that survived. Those are stories that they would have gone to their graves and never told. And we'd have never known the truth of that had it not been for this program. So if you know elderly veterans, ask them to go to the VA and transcribe and give them an oral history. That's one thing I wish we could have done with Johnny Guest, was to get him to talk.
Good Lord.
40 years law enforcement
In Texas,
in Texas.
during some really rough periods,
We got 2 stories out of him in 15 years,
maybe.
maybe 2 stories.
I read, if you've read gun magazines, if you read anything of Sheriff Jim Wilson, if he ever talks about his old partner, he's talking about Johnny Guest.
Yeah. And some of those stories are rather interesting.
Yeah. I love the one that starts out with, I now know the sound of 9mm of a Browning high power bouncing off the roof of 57 Ford.
Yeah. Yes, there is now, Sean, but there was not before. A lot of the credit for that goes to a 12 or 14-year-old boy who did a paper on the Indianapolis and was able to reach out and find some of the survivors,
Wow.
and actually went to one of the reunions and wrote his paper out of the reunion.
Oh, yeah. There are always doozies that don't get told.
Yeah.
You should hear some of mine when I've had a couple of cocktails. Those, when they're, those don't ever get recorded.
Yeah. Yeah, that's very true. One of my baseball coaches in Little League was in company.
Jim Wilson, Joshua, Sheriff Jim Wilson, not Bill Wilson. Johnny Guest and Sheriff Jim Wilson were partners at Denton PD, or somewhere in the area.
Somewhere in the area. But one of my Little League coaches was Company E506 PIR, World War II. Never said word one about it until I came home on leave years later. And that was the first time I found out.
But to circle back, to quote Raggedy Ann, to circle back, if you've ever had the itch to write, people, write. Please write.
That's one thing that we've lost today is the journaling.
Yeah, no kidding.
Which there are fantastic monographs out there. One of my old bosses collected them, and I borrowed one of them. I almost didn't give it back. But it was a family that started in Ohio and ended up in West Texas and then in Colorado in the 1870s.
Oh.
And it was basically day to day. There were gaps of a week or so, and the writing changed from man to wife, but they chronicled their journey. And it was just absolutely amazing to read what they went through. The weather, crossing the streams, trying to figure out whether or not they could make it across the river with a wagon. People that died on the route with them.
And the journal was the only place, in a lot of cases, that those names would be recorded.
Yeah.
There are, especially during the American Civil War and the period thereafter, there are collections of diaries.
Yeah.
And one of the things I was at Panhandle Plains, and somebody came in to bring his great grandmother's diaries.
Yeah.
And Cater was losing his mind. This woman had an elegant turn of phrase, glorious handwriting, elegant turn of phrase. And he asked the old boy if there were any more of them. And he said, no, we burned the rest. And I thought the curator was going to cry.
Yeah.
And again, folks like that should have been published. Should have been published. I mean, lovely language, elegant turn of phrase, would make today's artiste authors weep with shame. I mean, glorious.
Yeah, that is true, Josh. Some of those stories you can't share with other people that haven't been there.
2 cocktails.
No comment. I don't want to go to jail.
Yes, that's one of the reasons I will not be publishing a collection of military stories. Is some of that stuff has sections in the United Code of Military Justice, if not state penal codes.
Yeah, and the statute of limitations is not run out.
I'm not sure UCMJ has a statute of limitations.
Yeah. Letters. That's
yeah.
another one. Letters back and forth.
Oh, letters from the Civil War.
Yeah.
There was a traveling display or traveling exhibit of letters home from the front in the Civil War. Holy gods.
Yeah. And the same thing in World War I, World War II. Yeah, that's true, Josh. Some stories are only understood by those that have seen the elephant.
And some stories just require the proper delivery.
Yeah. The other problem is the way people react to certain things.
These days?
Yeah. Well, not so much these days as it is.
There's a lot of snowflakes out there, Jim.
Yeah. Yeah, Doug, that's going to happen too. You're going to get guys that just, they can't go. They can't go there. But a friend of mine is Neil Hansen, is a veteran of Air America. And he did basically a speech at EAA a couple of years ago that was transcribed and put on PBS. And he caught a lot of flack because he laughed about some of the things that happened to people, and they died. And what they didn't understand is that's the way Neil dealt with it. That's the way most of us that have been in those situations deal with it. It's funny because we survived. Morbid black humor.
Mm-hmm.
We got
more than once.
Yeah, we got in all kinds of trouble during the Challenger rescue or attempt.
Oh dear. Because
some asshole down around Orlando was monitoring the military frequencies.
Like they do.
And caught some of the black humor that was what was keeping us going out there.
There's the local scandal sheet, fish wrapper, had lost their tiny little mind because the local ER emergency room had put up a sign saying no recording, no cell phones. And said, "Oh my God, what are you doing that they can't? What medical experiments are you doing that you don't want recorded?" Well, the medical experiments is those folks have some really bad gallows humor.
Oh God, yes.
Your ER folks see a lot of crap. They really do, and they have a lot of coping mechanisms that. And the administrator or risk management or whoever the hell, quite clearly said, we don't need some of this getting out. We can't tell. You're not going to tell the nurses and doctors not to make jokes, because if you do, you got a doctor for 6 months and he's moving somewhere else because of the stress.
Yeah.
So there, and these days there is some idiot out there is going to get offended. That's just the way of it. And get offended on behalf of somebody else, which really annoys me.
That wasn't even there. Yeah.
You made a joke. That guy's severed arm. Is it your arm? No. Did the guy with the missing arm ask you to be offended on his behalf? No. Then why the hell are you running?
And the guy with the severed arm would have probably been laughing at the joke.
Yeah.
Yes, Nancy, people do not get gallows humor.
Nope.
And John, I can believe that. There was a clip on last night, and I don't remember where I saw it. About it was about an LA school, and the teacher was Tom Berringer, and he was a combat vet, taking on the gang kids. And yes, there are some. There are interesting people out there.
In the 1980s, I think it was Hill Street Blues, but don't quote me on this. There was a cop show.
Yeah, that was Hill Street Blues.
There was a severed arm, and one of the characters picked it up and had a watch and listened to the watch and said, "But damned, it does keep on ticking because Timex had a slow time, takes a lick and keeps on ticking."
Yep.
This guy picked the arm, listened to it. Wait, damn, it does keep on ticking. And this is the 80s, and people lost their poo.
Yeah.
Oh, God, they lost their poo. That was the 80s.
But
These
everybody else that saw it died laughing.
I thought it was funny as hell. These days, the Hill Street Blues would have gotten sued.
Yeah.
There'd be uprisings and people waving signs and folks with hair that not found in nature will be losing their poo on Twitter.
Hey,
What?
Troll comments? Yes.
who's the hair not found in nature? Found in nature.
And on that note,
Remember, if you want to support the band that is
yes, J. Hayden Creative,
buy this quilt.
we'll sell it. Y'all have a good weekend. Be safe.
Be safe, guys.
Get your Christmas shopping done.
Oh,
If
shit.
you're trying to mail shit for Christmas, you're too late. And remember, don't pet the sweaty stuff. Don't sweat the petty stuff. We'll talk to you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.